The sound of the slap cracked through the elegant restaurant like a gunshot. The young waitress stumbled backward, her crutches slipping against the polished marble floor. One of them clattered loudly beside her as a glass fell from her trembling hand and shattered into hundreds of sparkling pieces. For a second, nobody moved. The waitress stood frozen, one hand pressed against her cheek, her eyes filled with shock and humiliation. Her name tag read Emily. She had been carrying a tray of expensive champagne when the woman in the designer dress suddenly struck her across the face. "Know your place," the woman snapped. Emily's lips trembled. "I'm sorry, ma'am. I didn't mean to. You spilled champagne on my dress." "I barely touched you," Emily whispered. The woman raised her hand again. But before it could come down, a deep voice stopped her. "Try it." Everyone turned. At the entrance stood a tall man in a black suit, his expression colder than anyone in the room had ever seen. He was Daniel Hart. A billionaire. A powerful businessman. And, more importantly, the woman's husband. He slowly walked toward them. But what he did next left the entire restaurant speechless. If stories about kindness, courage, and unexpected second chances touch your heart, make sure to subscribe to our channel, like this video, and tell us in the comments what you would have done if you had witnessed this moment. Because sometimes, one small act of kindness can reveal the true character of a person. Daniel stopped beside Emily and looked at her swollen cheek. "Are you hurt?" Emily quickly shook her head. "I'm okay, sir." "No," Daniel said quietly. "You're not." Then he turned toward his wife. "Claire, what have you done?" Claire folded her arms. "She ruined my dress. Do you have any idea how much this costs?" Daniel looked at the champagne stain. Then he looked back at Emily's crutches. "Do you have any idea what she costs?" Claire frowned. "What are you talking about?" "I'm talking about a human being." The room became silent again. Daniel knelt down and picked up Emily's fallen crutch. He carefully handed it back to her. "Here." "Thank you," Emily whispered. Daniel noticed that one of the rubber tips on her crutch was badly worn. "Has anyone helped you with that?" Emily looked embarrassed. "It's fine. I've been meaning to replace it." Daniel nodded. Then he turned to the restaurant manager. "Please bring her a chair." The manager immediately obeyed. Claire stared at her husband in disbelief. "You're embarrassing me in front of everyone." Daniel looked at her calmly. "No, Claire. Your actions embarrassed you." Emily tried to explain herself. "I really am sorry about the dress. I lost my balance when someone bumped into me. I'm still learning how to work with the crutches." Daniel looked at her with genuine concern. "How long have you been working here?" 3 months. "And why are you working with an injury?" Emily hesitated. "Because I need the money." That simple answer seemed to hit Daniel harder than anything else. Emily explained that she had been injured in a car accident months earlier. She had survived, but the recovery had taken everything from her. Medical bills had piled up, and she had lost her previous job because she could no longer stand for long periods. The restaurant had given her a chance. "It isn't easy," she admitted. "But I'm grateful they hired me." Daniel smiled gently. "That says a lot about you." Claire rolled her eyes. "Are we seriously doing this now?" Daniel turned toward her. "Yes. We are." Claire expected him to defend her. Instead, Daniel took off his expensive jacket and placed it over Emily's shoulders because she was shivering. Then he said something that nobody expected. "Emily, I want you to go home tonight." She looked confused. "But I need to finish my shift." "You don't need to." Daniel pulled out his phone. "I'll cover your lost wages for tonight." Emily immediately shook her head. "No, sir. I can't accept that." "You're not accepting charity," Daniel replied. You're accepting kindness. Emily's eyes filled with tears. Daniel then looked at the restaurant manager. And I'd like to pay for the damage to the dress. Claire smiled, thinking she had finally won. But Daniel continued. After that, I'd like you to donate the same amount to a local rehabilitation center. Claire's smile disappeared. What? Daniel looked at her. If you can spend that much on a dress, we can spend the same amount helping people who are struggling to walk again. Nobody in the restaurant said a word. Claire suddenly realized that Daniel wasn't angry because of the champagne. He was disappointed because of what she had become. Later that night, Daniel drove Emily home himself. She lived in a small apartment above an old bookstore. The building had no elevator, and climbing the stairs with crutches was exhausting. Daniel noticed immediately. Why haven't you moved somewhere accessible? Emily laughed softly. Because accessible apartments cost more than I can afford. Daniel didn't respond. The next morning, Emily received a call from the restaurant manager. She had been offered a promotion to a customer service position where she could sit while working. But that wasn't all. The restaurant had also installed a small ramp at the entrance and repaired the staff bathroom so employees with disabilities could use it safely. Daniel had paid for everything anonymously. Emily later discovered the truth. She called him. Why did you do all this? Daniel paused. Because someone once did it for me. Emily listened. Daniel told her that years earlier, before he became wealthy, he had lost almost everything. He had been sleeping in his car and working 2 jobs. One rainy night, an elderly stranger had bought him dinner without asking questions. That meal had kept him going. She didn't save me with money, Daniel said. She saved me by reminding me that I still mattered. Emily wiped away a tear. And now you're doing the same for me. Daniel smiled. I'm only passing it on. Months later, Emily returned to the restaurant. She was walking without crutches. Her recovery wasn't complete, but she was getting stronger every day. Daniel was there with several employees from his company. He had helped create a foundation that provided support, job training, and accessible housing assistance for people recovering from serious injuries. Emily had become one of its first employees. As she stood in front of everyone, she looked at Daniel. You taught me something, she said. Kindness isn't about how much money you have. It's about what you choose to do when you have the power to help someone. Daniel smiled. Then he looked around the room. And sometimes, he said, the person who needs kindness isn't the weakest person in the room. Sometimes they're the one teaching everyone else how to be strong. Claire was never part of Daniel's life again. Her cruelty had revealed something money could never hide. But Emily's kindness revealed something even more powerful. A person can be hurt without becoming hateful. A person can be humiliated without losing dignity. And a person can struggle without giving up hope. That night, Emily looked at her repaired crutches hanging by the door of her apartment. She no longer needed them every day. But she kept them. Not because they reminded her of the accident. They reminded her of the day a stranger chose kindness when everyone else chose silence. And perhaps that's the greatest lesson of all. You never know what someone is carrying behind their smile. You never know how close someone may be to giving up. A kind word, a helping hand, or simply treating someone with dignity can change the direction of their entire life. So the next time you see someone struggling, don't ask whether they deserve your kindness. Give it anyway. Because kindness doesn't make you weaker. It makes you the kind of person who can change a life without ever realizing it.